Alright, so it's the morning. I've just done some box breathing. I'm going to do a bit of meditation. Alright, so from my fairly short experience there, I find it's good to, if I want to release tension, on the contractive forces, breathe in through your nose. So that'll be like when you're resting, if you're on a dip bar, when you're resting, nose, and then out of the mouth for explosive. And that kind of brings a bit more balance to the breath and helps to maybe release a bit more tension in the body, if you can find it during your practice. All in all, to kind of maintain consistency within this, I find it's best to reach a position of discomfort in the meditation whereby I'm kind of embracing, I don't know, something, and then like a wave will like wash over you, and your practice might be a bit like, whoa, this is a bit heavy. Once you reach that point, it's very fair to back away and just basically return to your practice whenever you're next relaxed and ready to kind of give it another go. Obviously this is just me learning, so I'm not sure if that is the absolute kind of lesson to be learned from what I'm currently experiencing, but there's definitely this sense that I shouldn't just mindlessly force myself to do things, including meditation, within my life, and that I should be kind of relaxing first. I'm probably going to say these words a lot, but relax to be consistent to improve. And so it's very much beginning the practice in a relaxed way and ensuring that whatever you're doing, it's not going to hinder your potential for consistency, because the consistency is what will eventually provide the absolute kind of, it's impossible to not improve if you're doing something consistently. But yeah, cool, that's the morning. Got a good day ahead. Alright, so it's still just like 7:30, so I'm gonna wait for my coffee to cool down. Honestly, it's like reawakening my mind's consciousness of my body is scary, because I come into contact with all this stagnation, is how it feels. All those kind of like centers which have hindered my development. Kind of like if you were running a company and there was like a section of employees who just become lazy or whatever, no longer enjoyed their work, and that affects the whole company. it's almost as if it's like my responsibility to provide them with morale, to ensure them that their work is important to the rest of the company. Alright, for some reason my microphone won't turn the camera on. Alright, so the issue is I turned the microphone on before the camera.
Best place to start is talking about the main thing when you start a limited company is you have something called share capital. Now don't worry about the term. What it really means is you as the owner. When you start a limited company, you have to put, who's the director, who's the person kind of in charge of it, and who are the owners, who's the person that owns the shares, the shareholders. So most of the time in a small owner-managed business, that's you, the shareholder.
Barber's Adagio, the theme from Platoon. Slowly down. Hold at the bottom. Explode up. Slowly down. Explode up. Slowly down. Hold. Explode up. Control the decline. Hold. Explode up. I imagine this type of movement extends towards practically everything we should do as a living animal. Control, hold, explode. Alright, so just to be clear, I feel genuinely terrified just to sit down and do nothing. And my understanding of that is because I've got to face up to something that I'm trying to ignore. And that I'm literally using brain power to ignore fundamental information. And it's like if you're trying to succeed in any way, you want as much data as possible. So you're most likely to make the best decision. And I'm ignoring some signal that's going on within my body to my mind. And I really need to be conscious as to how to begin the journey to move past that. And I think, as far as I can tell now, it starts with learning to feel comfortable with my eyes shut in as many situations as possible, as long as I'm safe in those situations. Like when I'm at home, or if I'm on my yoga mat at home, or if I'm in a chair at the swimming pool, or, all these different places where I can give myself permission to shut my eyes and bring a bit more consciousness to my actual experience, rather than all the distractions, all the visual and auditory distractions, I suppose. Alright, so I do find it hard. But I'm imagining, because I find it hard to begin with, once I actually start to enjoy it, I suppose because I find it one of my least favourite things to do currently, sit down and do nothing. Once I get into it, I imagine I'll find it one of the most enjoyable things, if not like the most enjoyable. Because there's an authenticity in it which I find uncomfortable, I suppose, because when I was authentic, when I was younger, it wasn't respected, let's say. And you were made to feel bad about wanting to be yourself. And so I don't know if that's an easy card to pull, but there was certainly a point in my life where I was very at peace with myself. And it started to, declining in a sense after the age of 7. And I specifically remember a handful of moments where it's kind of like you're waking up to a world which isn't there for you. It's there for itself. And you probably, at such a young age, I imagine I didn't have enough of a capacity to understand that. I didn't really understand that until I was about, now, at 30. It's like the world is not designed for me. And I think that's very distressing when you first learn that, unless you learn it gradually. And I don't really know what the consequences of that are. I suppose that's just provides a certain level of conditioning within the effective human animal that you need to be there for yourself, because no system on earth is designed for you specifically in mind, but the system benefits you as long as you effectively cooperate within its mechanisms. I mean, this is very unthought out, and even trying to discuss it is making me feel proper stupid. Because I can't work out what the foundational point is. It's something along the lines that every animal needs to be there for themselves first. Because you're required to organise whatever system you are, I suppose. I don't like this discussion at all. Because I'm finding it hard to process what I'm trying to gain from it. It's almost as if I really want answers, I have to look within. And if I look within, I have to deal with some very uncomfortable truths as to the reality of the nature of existence. But once I move past those truths, then I can more effectively behave and coordinate myself within the larger system, which operates under very similar rules. And it almost feels as if I'm afraid of those rules, the real ones, which go beyond society and humans. It's these innate truths which define whether I'll live a good or bad life as to how effectively I can cooperate with them. But, just thinking of them at this point, they just make me feel like in England we'd say, feel like a lemon. Because I suppose they expose me to certain realities about my need and dependency on other things. And I suppose when I was younger, my need and dependency on other things exposed me to certain experiences which were overwhelming and uncomfortable. And so I've kind of tried to somehow unconsciously use my mind to shut myself off from that reality of my need and dependency on other things. And I've tried to pretend in some way, unconsciously or consciously, I'm not sure, that I'm unique and that I'm special. When in reality I've always known that I wasn't. And so it's kind of like a mask. My idea of uniqueness is a mask, which I use to defend myself against certain realities, which I find uncomfortable, because when I was exposed to those very realities, I was crushed. Well, I think that's enough of this conversation. I mean, that's closer to the point than I've probably ever uttered. But then again, I'm very well aware that I have a high potential of being wrong. suppose when I experientially really know the answer, I'll be liberated from it, and I won't fall into the trap of speaking about it. Because my need for consciousness of it will subside, and I can finally move beyond it, and hopefully become a better person for it, more capable of helping those around him, and listening. I'm realizing his dependency on a healthy system for a healthy life. Annoying that I managed to do so much harm to myself just because I couldn't sit in silence. Christ. Grating in my elbows, grating in between my shoulder blades in my spine if I go low enough. Tension in my left shoulder and my neck, left neck and left shoulder joint, I suppose, whatever that is. Tension there. A little bit of pain, which actually feels very productive in my wrists. It's good to be alive. It's not, the pain isn't so bad. It's just dull, a dull pain. But there's something in it which feels real. And when I kind of relax into it, it makes me feel alive. Like, talking like this makes me think there's a key difference between complaining and identifying. Complaining is the end. The conversation doesn't extend beyond your own dissatisfaction. Whereas identifying is seeking a solution. First by identifying where the problem lies, and then by trying to identify how you can overcome it. Which is why I suppose complaining can become so toxic. Complaining isn't seeking a solution. Complaining is playing the victim. Dirty headache. It's definitely because I fucking ate 2 tins of tinned peaches. It's bare sugar. Don't rate it. It was good at the time, but definitely not necessary. The sugar's dried out my brain. What you done to your leg there, buddy? Do you want more chicken? You're wagging. Chicken. Chicken. The chicken gods. Chicken. Alright, it's like 12 o'clock and all I want to say is business bank accounts are a massive headache.